All right, my friends, Gene Burnett here from geneburnett.com. Going to show a little video today that I call Squats for Life. I love doing squats. I'm just talking about air squats. I'm not talking about adding any weight at this point or anything like that. I'm talking about a good old-fashioned air squat. Now there's loads of videos online that'll tell you the perfect air squat, the perfect way to do it, and they'll have all kinds of posture guidelines. Strongly recommend you look into those if you don't have one that feels good. It should feel like work in your thighs and in your core and in your back to some degree, but it should not feel like anything like pain in the joints. So personally, I like to experiment. I trust my body. I've been doing this stuff for 40 years. I know my body really well. I know when I'm getting to the edges of what's injurious to me and not so great, not so healthy. So I experiment and I figure it out, because there's a lot of difference in hips. There's a lot of difference in the way, the length of femurs and the depth of hip joints and the length of the spine and the distribution of weight. There's a lot of different physics situations that people are dealing with, and there isn't one size that fits all. So I'm just going to share what works for me in the hope that it might inspire you to find something that works for you. So to me, squats are extremely useful in life. The ability to drive up from the ground, to take my weight into my legs and bring it up, very, very useful. So first of all, here's the way I do a squat. So I'm going to back up a little bit here. So you're not going to be seeing me from the, well, maybe I'll just adjust it. Yeah, let's just do this. Okay, now you can see my face a little bit. I'm very flexible in the hips. I've been doing yoga and Tai Chi for 40 years. So I can, let's see, I can put my feet flat on the ground and just sink all the way down to here and leave my feet flat on the ground. I can even straighten my back a bit while I do that, like that. So I can go all the way down there. That's a matter of flexibility, not really a matter of strength. I can do it really quickly and really fast back up. A little bit of strength, but mostly it's flexibility and the way my hips are made. So I don't do squats like that very much. What I do is I'm going to place my feet on the ground and I'm going to follow my own guideline about posture. I'm going to start with the horse, which is my feet are parallel, wider than my shoulders. My knees are bent. My hips are sitting in. That's the horse down here. Don't cave in. And then the hips, tuck a little in the back, crease in the front. And then the heart, lift it, head, back of the head, lift it. So it's horse, hips, heart, head. That in a nutshell is all you need to know about posture, really. Do that. So I do that, right? Side view, horse, hips, heart, head, right? And then I'm just going to use a little dojo bow position for my hands, and I'm just going to sink into my hips, and I'm going to rise up out of that. The key is that I want to work what I call in the wet stuff, in the muscles, the juicy stuff, not the tendons and joints. I don't want to feel pain in my joints, so I'm not sinking forward this way. I'm not going way out like that. I'm trying to stay relatively vertical as I go down, and inevitably I will tilt forward a little bit. But I just do as much as is necessary. I'm not trying to lean forward. So I'm just sinking into my hips and then driving up from my legs. So that's the basic idea of it. Sometimes I go a little bit further, and if I go a little further, I lean a little further, because I'm looking to keep the work in the wet stuff, in the muscles, where I feel like, oh, work is coming to muscles. I can do this. There's no strain. There's no pain. There's effort, but there isn't a strain, hardy, grabby feeling in there. So for me, that means I could theoretically go all the way down to here and up. But I want to slow that down and stop before I get there so that my flexibility doesn't come into play as much as my strength, right? So that's how I basically do the squat. Now the variations I do, one variation is the crane breathing. So I'm going to stand like this and I'm going to sink into my legs while I close my ball here, and I'm going to rise and inhale, going to sink and exhale. So I'm doing it really deep. Usually when I would teach this and when I first learned it, it was just a small one, but I've been into squats lately, so I really go down there and back up again. Another version I do is with the chain punches. So while I'm doing the chains, I'm trying to keep my chest up and I'm going into my thighs and out of my thighs, like this, right? Another version, let's see, I've got this version here, I've got the chain version, and I've got the breathing version, the big breath. Now I also do finger ripples. These are bagua finger ripples where you're curling in little finger first and uncurling little finger first. There's a small one, there's a big one, right? There's a bigger one where you add the teacups type arrangement while you're doing that. So I do those with squats. So I close as I close my hand, I sink, and I rise as I come up. Trying to get a holistic movement of my legs, pulling my hands into the circle and opening up again. There to there. I can also make that bigger and do the squat while I close and open, and close and open, close and open. And I can do that while I do the finger ripples with the teacups. So I'm coming up and then going into the squat and up and out. So I usually do 10 of each of those or 15 of each of those or something like that. So you've got the basic squat idea, down, up, here, here, keeping the work away from your joints. Don't want strain in the knees, don't want strain in the ankles, don't want strain in the low back, don't want strain in the neck. I listen to my own body, I don't want strain. I don't care what the dogma says. I don't care what the meridians and the woo-woo says, or even what science says. If science tells me to do something that hurts my joints, I don't do it. Because I might be the exception to some rule anatomically that applies to everybody else but me. I don't know. I'm trusting my experience over everything. So there, work there, right? So now, how do I do these squats? Well, I do them as part of my workout. When I'm doing the finger ripples, I add the squats to them. When I'm doing that breathing exercise, I add the squats to it. But a major thing I've been doing lately is I've been just doing 5 to 10 squats regularly when I'm at my desk for a little while. I don't have a desk job, but I kind of got a desk hobby. I spend a decent amount of time right here because I don't have a phone. This is where I do my communicating and where I do my writing and recording videos and all that kind of stuff. So if I've been sitting, honestly, for more than 5 or 10 minutes, I just push the chair back, step away from the desk, and I'll do 5 of these, or 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 5 of these, 5 of something, or 10. I do 5 or 10. And I end up doing 120, 150, 60, 70 a day, something like that. Sets of 5, sets of 10. Sometimes I just push the thing back and just stand up straight, maybe stretch my back out a little bit, but I don't sit for too long because I feel that my body is like a dog and it will do whatever I want it to do to the best of its ability, but it doesn't know what I want it to do. It doesn't speak English, it speaks action. So when I get up and I do those things, I think I'm sending all the right messages to my body. I'm in the game. I need strong, I'm not just watching the game. I'm in the game. I need strong legs. Let's coil into the ground and drive up out of it without hurting our knees, right? Let's have a good ground up kinetic chain available to us at all times. That's what I'm telling my body that I want by doing that. And then it rallies resources, right? Because I think intention rallies resources. And so if I do that, my body's like, oh, the boss wants these capacities, so let's develop them. So my muscles and breathing and blood vessels and all that stuff start to cooperate, and they start to do what I want it to do, which is cultivate those resources, because I'd like to be able to do at least a few of these until my very last days. And if I don't stop doing them, I don't see how I can lose the ability to do it, at least no matter how old I get, unless I, get injured or sick or something. But as long as I'm around and as long as I can do it, man, I do want to be able to do at least a few of those. I'm 67 now, but if I live to be 80, I'd like to be able to do at least a few of those. And if I can do a few of those squats when I'm 80, it means I can also do a whole bunch of other stuff, like sit up straight, stand up straight, walking, reaching, lifting. I can do a whole bunch of other stuff if I can do 3 good squats when I'm 80. Okay, so now I hope to do more than that, but I don't know. I don't want to get too cocky here. So, and I really didn't read too much of the science about this or do a lot of research. It just felt really good, and I realized that, what made sense to me is that the thighs are big powerhouse muscles. It's where all of our power comes from, whether we're football players or martial artists or baseball pitchers or even golfers, tennis players. Our power comes from the legs. The rest is added value. The rotation adds value. The swing of the arm adds value. These things add value, but it's to the basic momentum thrust from the legs, right? So I figured the more you thrust from your legs and the more you tell that to your body, the more it knows you're in the game and fires up your resources. And I just figured, man, that's got to be good for metabolism. Because, I've been trying to shed a few pounds, and I have been doing it slowly but surely, the way it's supposed to be done. Lose it quick, you will gain it quick. Lose it slow, you'll keep it for the rest of your life, maybe. So I've been just, tamping down the caloric intake and gently upping the working out. And I'm doing that a lot through these squats because I figured these are metabolic drivers. These are things that give you the power in life. So if you're telling your body you're in the game, your body wants to kind of, I don't know, I feel like it ups my metabolism to have strong thighs. It's just an intuition I had. I've since I started doing this, I've heard, oh yeah, it does. It's got something to do with the way you metabolize this or that thing, or I don't even care. I just know it does. It feels great, and the pounds are slowly coming off the middle. So that's, the main reason I started doing them is that, I want these abilities, and I wanted to, even if it just upped my metabolism 0.5%, I'll take it. Because that's the major caloric burn in your body, is this upkeep of the system, right? So if it ups my system of 1%, I'll take it. So that was my motivation. But the surprise is, once I started doing it, the surprise is that it's made my back feel so much better. I think sitting is probably the worst thing I do in my life for my health, and my back has been tender since I was a kid. I've got a congenital problem back here with a couple of vertebrae being a little out or off, and I've had it all my life. And when I was, in my reproductive years, nature gave a shit about me, and it was keeping me kind of spreading the impact of things out, and hormones and whatever just enabled me to kind of just play through it. But now, as I've gotten older, it's been more and more and more apparent that this thing needs maintenance and care, and I've been doing other things for it, like, strengthening my core, doing ab rolls and stuff like that. I've been doing stuff for it, but suddenly when I started doing these squats, purely for metabolic and kind of power reasons, my back just started to feel so much better. And now I'm just religious about it. Because here's a little side note. If something works for me and helps me do something better in my life, or helps me heal from an injury or an illness, I don't stop when the illness or the injury is done. I do it for the rest of my life. So if something helps my low back when it goes out, that's now part of my routine forever. Because, nature don't give a shit about you when you're past reproductive age. It will not help you out. You can't walk things off anymore. You have to do it yourself. Right? You got to care for yourself, because nature doesn't care that much if you're not in the game anymore. So, at least I don't think. So, my point is, the squats had some side benefits that I did not see coming. I did not expect this to just instantly make my back start feeling better. I've only been doing it about a month, and I am sold. Squats for life, because I don't want doctors in my life, and I don't want pain in my life. Right? So if I can, the further on I can go before those things come into my life, the better. Maybe never. Maybe I'll get out of this life without pain or doctors. Wouldn't that be great? So, but my point is, the squats had unofficial or unexpected benefits. So I'm sitting at my board, I'm doing my stuff, and then I go, hey, I've been sitting here for 6 minutes. I just lean back, Simple. Pull my chair back. And what have I lost compared to what I've gained? You know, a minute or less of productivity and hopefully the rest of my life without back pain. It's a no-brainer. If something works, man, keep doing it. And if something doesn't work, stop doing it. If you have a hard time doing things that are good for you and a hard time not doing things that are bad for you, honestly, I recommend some kind of therapy, because there's something driving your behavior that you're not aware of. And the sooner you uncover it, the better, because you'll be in your own way for the rest of your life if you don't. More free advice. The ideas just keep coming. But the main thing I wanted to say is about these squats and how much I'm loving them, how much stronger my legs are getting. You know, because, you know, every stance, every martial movement, everything you're doing down in your legs here, driving, punching, moving, all this stuff has got to do with being able to sit weight into your legs in a way that's not injurious to your knees at all. No strain, no twisting. I see people that are really good at martial arts and their hips are not as open as they could be, and when they're driving stuff, their knees are subtly twisting. And I think, well, when you get to 50, 60, 70 and your knees start hurting, you'll probably claim it's just aging. But I don't think it is just aging. Aging's a factor for sure. But if you kept your alignment going and you keep that work in the soft, wet stuff, the muscles, as opposed to the hard, sinewy stuff, you don't want that stuff working and strained. You want that in the muscles. Not that you want your tendons to be babied, but not strained or laterally pushed or tugged or struggling. You don't want your joints struggling. You want every time you sink, the weight should be going through your legs and into the ground without pain in your joints. So doing it nice and slow is one way to develop that, which is obviously why I do Tai Chi. So, okay, team squats for life, recommended highly. Boom, good for you if you do them. And I'll see you next time. If any of this stuff is helpful, please give me a like and let me know that it's helpful, because it's the only reason I do this stuff. I don't make much money on this channel. There's a donation link all over my videos, but you know, I just get the occasional tip now and then, and it makes my day. But it's not while I'm doing it. Why I'm doing it. I'm doing it to help. So if this helps, you let me know. All right, you take care, and we'll see you next time.